What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this POV review by Auto. My name is Max, and today you join me in northern Italy near Milan at the Vairano track. Absolutely stunning place here. It is like the home base of, I think, Quattro Route, something like that. It's an Italian magazine, I think, and they have like a clubhouse over there, which is super nice. And we are here with the ALPINE A390 GTS to test it out at the Vairano track and on the roads near here. So super nice. We just had insane rain, like the most insane rain I've ever seen, horizontally bashing those cars. Absolutely insane, but it should stay dry now. So doing a little bit of a walk around to show you around it, then we'll take it for a drive on the regular road and then on the track as well. So GTS, I drove the GT recently and I actually quite liked it. I think they've carved out sort of their own spot in this segment, the small crossover SUV segment. They call it a sport fastback, but it has to compete with a BMW iX3 or a Volvo EX60, Hyundai maybe, like Ioniq 5N. So they really have their work cut out for them. So what they want to try to do is get the people that really love driving and that want something that, even though it is like a four-door coupe thing, it's quite big, it's quite heavy, but still they want a nice driving car. I think that is what they are aiming for. So design-wise, you have this super aggressive front end with this sort of F1 wing design over there, which is nice. This triangle part with the daytime running lights that's supposed to look like a mountain, I think. Super sharp lines. And well, I think the GTS looks exactly the same as the GT. I don't think there are visual differences. You just have the 21-inch snowflake wheels as standard. I think that's the biggest difference. So we've got this matte gray color, which is optional. Other options are like the red brake calipers and the little flag on the side there. But I think 78,500 euros is this car going to be in the Netherlands, and you have basically all the options, which is good. So wheels, this is the snowflake. They also have a 20-inch wheel available, which is optional. Also really nice design with like an arrow blade thing going on. Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires with an A39 code, so that means that it's developed specifically for this car, which is great. We've got hydraulic bump stops as well on the suspension. It's got aluminium wishbones, forged aluminium wishbones. It weighs 2200 kilos, but because of its design, like the platform design with a skateboard in the middle, and then the front motor is very compact, so they could have that nice and low. Center of gravity is nice and low. You've got 4951 weight distribution, which is great. Coupe roofline, as you can see. And then check out this. This is the sabled seat with forged carbon trim. That looks awesome. You can also have it in regular carbon. I like regular carbon better, but this is a very nice touch. Blue leather, beautiful, absolutely beautiful interior. 532 liters of luggage space, I think, which is also not bad, with a double floor. And then below there we have two electric motors for a total of 470 horsepower, 824 newton meters of torque. You've got AATV, Alpine active torque vectoring, that distributes the power from right to left, and then also from front to rear. Of course, you've got a front motor and two rear motors, so three motors for four-wheel drive, but with a very aggressive setup for the rear motors. And then inside, as I said, beautiful interior. Definitely up for the task of competing with those cars I mentioned earlier. Gorgeous blue leather with contrast stitching. Great sabled seats, although the regular ones, I got into this car and I was like, I didn't remember it being this high. So the sabled is actually a little bit higher. It's a great seat, but it's too high. So the regular seat is a bit better, in my opinion, driving position wise. Beautiful blue leather steering wheel as well, with the recharge, driving mode and overtake. So this is just boost, gives you full throttle basically no matter your throttle position. So it's not like overboost or anything like that. It's overtake. Yeah, more blue leather, contrast stitching, blue Alcantara, nice aluminium trim. Everything looks and feels beautiful. Microfiber Alcantara on the headliner, and the De Vialet audio system, which is also really nice with an aluminium speaker cover. So honestly, more carbon there, more carbon here. This is like a really nice interior. I like it. I think it's really well done. And well, the 390 GT I drove, and then I think a week later we had the iX3. I think this is better. Also there, look at that little blue Alcantara accent on the dash. They don't have to do that. They did that because they want this to feel nice and luxurious and cool. And I really like that. And then the GTS adds the track mode, which shifts the brake balance to the rear, more to the rear, and the torque vectoring is more aggressive, so it rotates more easily. It's more tail happy, but that's something that we're going to show you on the track later on, which is super cool. Okay, so let's go for a drive. So, and to find out what sets this car apart, we've taken it to a lovely road, because we were talking about this. Why would you buy this car? That's the question, of course, that you have to ask whenever you drive any car. But this is particularly difficult because if you compare it on specs alone, it loses. If you compare it to a BMW iX350 or a Volvo EX60, it's just not good enough. They are doing 800 kilometers of WLTP range, and this is 550 if you go for the 20-inch wheels. So it doesn't really cut it when it comes to range. So I really believe that there is a group of people out there that want this, that want a fun EV that they can drive every day to work or whatever, and then take on the weekends to a nice road like this and have some fun and just enjoy driving. So we're in sport mode right now. Let's hit track mode to give us that rear wheel biased braking and a little bit more of a sporty setting for the torque vectoring. We've got the regenerative braking, as I said, the beautiful blue button. Kind of weird thing that I noticed is that if you, well, it's most noticeable when you go full recharge, the brake pedal actually moves. So when you let off the throttle, you can see the brake pedal braking for the regeneration. And I asked why that is. Apparently it's so that if you hit the brakes while it's recharging, so like that, it feels natural because, you know, the brake pedal is already halfway there. But I don't think I've seen it anywhere else. It's kind of strange. Also, I like to keep it all four in the first setting. It's the most comfortable way to drive it for me. So again, who is going to buy it and why should they buy it? Well, number one, I like the fact that it's different. It's different than anything that's out there. It's a bit of a weird shape and size, but it offers something that no one else really does. This whole tri-motor setup with the torque vectoring, it means that the car feels so eager to rotate. Even though, you know, it's 2200 kilos, you do feel it on the brakes there, but when you turn the car, it just turns. It's so happy to turn. And I wasn't really expecting that. Well, the GT also has that, and this has that in a more extreme form. So you've got 470 horsepower, 824 newton meters of torque, divided by the three motors, 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. And for the GTS, they have recalibrated the whole drivetrain. It's got a different battery compared to the GT. So it's both 89 kilowatt hours, but this is more of a performance battery from a French company. So launch control, 3.9 seconds, 0 to 100, foot on the brake, full throttle, and hit the overtake button. Launch control active, release the brake. And that's 4 seconds with 2 people in the car and 70% battery. So that's honestly pretty impressive. It's supposed to do 3.9 seconds, so yeah, that checks out. Slight understeer there, but you can always correct it with a bit of throttle. So for some more extreme versions of this whole driving experience and a better way to show you guys, let's hit the track and then we'll be back. So we are at the Vairano track now, trying to explore what this A390 GTS can do. We're in track mode. I already did a couple of sighting laps in sport mode, which means that the traction control has been dialed back. It sends more power to the rear and the brake balance has been shifted to the rear as well. You can really immediately feel the difference when you hit the throttle, because the car feels even more eager to rotate than in sport mode, which I already found pretty eager to rotate. Now, compared to the GT, this GTS has more power on all 3 motors. You have 156 horsepower on every one. Yes, very eager to slide. Also, corner entry, that's a little bit too much speed, but I have to tap the brakes there, I think, to just get the car to rotate a bit more. So the traction control also allows you to slide a little bit more in track mode. They don't nip at the brakes, they just reduce the power going to the wheels. So I don't think it's an actual drift mode, but it's if you are on the balance of what the car will allow and sort of before the traction control interventions, I think it's a perfect balance. I think then you are, you know, really making the most of what the car can do and how it's been set up. Also, for a car that is this heavy, it's actually quite light on its feet. So a little bit of oversteer on entry. Double apex. See, I'm not really doing anything. The car just is so eager to rotate on speed. It's super nice. It's so controllable. Yeah, it's, oh wow, I mean, I'm not going nearly fast enough to really...
More speed.
Yeah, more speed.
But over there, for example.
Yeah. I'm not nearly going fast enough to explore the limits of the car and what the car can do. I mean, you can see glimpses of how it works when you sort of tap the brake at the right time, or when you steer in, or when you, like this one, trail brake basically onto the apex. But it is so, it's very, very well set up, and you can just feel that these people who have set up this car and done the development of it, they are into driving and they want this car to feel as good as it can feel. Even though it's quite a heavy electric car, of course, and you're just bound by the weight. Now they did do a very smart thing with the platform being a skateboard platform, also having the single front motor, meaning that your front end is a bit more sleek and low. Weight distribution 49 front, 51 rear, also near perfect.
Right now with a bit more speed.
Now
Just break
hold
a
it.
bit. Yeah, is it?
Oh, that is beautiful. That is so good.
Just a bit.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
that's it's to find the right the right speed that you are not getting into understeer.
Exactly.
Okay. Because of course at the limit the car will always
yeah.
understeer for safety. Huh?
Yeah.
But it's just not to get the under, and then you get enough grip in the front, and then you get the right
Yeah.
rotation.
You
And
get the
this-
sweet spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it enough?
So good. It's so good.
If you have enough grip
Yeah.
in the front, you have the right grip, and then
It's the balance.
But it doesn't step out like it's not snappy.
No,
It's not snappy.
it's
at
very
all.
gradual.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
is
It's a bit linear.
yeah.
All right, so that's it for the track part of the video. Honestly, super impressive. They said that it's not a car that they've built for the track. They are not expecting people to take it to the track. It's just to show us what the car can do, how they've set it up, how it handles on the limit, and really to show off the way the Alpine Active Torque Vectoring works. It only works on throttle, so it's not like a diff. It's not like you can basically enjoy its rotation off throttle going into a corner, and the setup of that, like a Porsche GT3 RS for instance. But with that rear brake balance, you can sort of do the same thing if you control the brakes correctly, have the right speed. And if you're in that window of operation, it acts like a rear wheel biased 4-wheel drive car, which it is, but it has no right being this good, honestly. It's very impressive. So as you could see, it's super impressive. Honestly, it is a lot of fun to drive, and I really applaud Alpine for taking this approach and giving us a car that's properly fun to drive and that's been built and set up by people who actually love driving. And that's just something you notice. It's just the price is still bugging me. It's 80,000 euros, around 78.5 in the Netherlands, and BMW iX350, Volvo EX60. There are a few others out there. They are bigger, they offer more space, more comfort, better range, 800 volt in some cases. It's just, they're just not really there, and you must really love the old duck. You must really love driving to get this over those others, and I kind of love it for that. It's if you choose to buy this car over the others, then we know you are a proper like driver, and yeah, we know that you've got your priorities straight. So that's it for this review. Hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe by clicking the big button, check out this video, this playlist, and we'll see you at the next one. Bye.